On the night of August 21, 1986, a herdsman named Epa Joseph woke up in the village of Lower Nyos and walked outside to check on his cattle. He collapsed before he reached the fence. When rescuers arrived 2 days later, they found entire villages silent. Not burning, not flooded, just silent. Every person, every cow, every insect, dead where they stood. Nobody taught you this in school. And there is a reason for that. Because what killed 1,746 people that night was not a war, not a disease, not a bomb. It was a lake. A quiet, blue, beautiful lake sitting in a volcanic crater in the highlands of northwestern Cameroon. Lake Nyos did not flood. It did not boil. It simply exhaled, and everything within 16 miles died within minutes. Here is what they never told you about that night. Lake Nyos sits over a pocket of magma deep in the earth. For decades, carbon dioxide seeped up through the lake bed and dissolved into the water under enormous pressure. The lake held that gas like a bottle of soda that has never been opened. Millions of tons of it. Silently. Invisibly. Waiting. Nobody knew. The villages of Nyos, Cha, Subum, and Lower Nyos had existed peacefully around that lake for generations. Farmers. Herdsmen. Families. The lake was considered beautiful. Sacred, even. Then, on the evening of August 21, something triggered the lake to turn over. Scientists still debate exactly what caused it: a small landslide, a minor tremor, a sudden drop in temperature on the surface. Whatever it was enough. The deep, gas-saturated water surged upward. The pressure released catastrophically, and Lake Nyos burped out approximately 1.2 cubic kilometers of pure carbon dioxide in a matter of seconds. That is roughly the equivalent of 300,000 tons of invisible, odorless gas, released almost instantaneously. The cloud rolled out across the land. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air. It did not rise and disperse. It hugged the ground. It poured down the valleys like an invisible flood, following the exact paths that people and animals used every single day. It moved at roughly 45 miles per hour. People in its path had no warning. No smell. No sound. No time. Carbon dioxide at high concentrations does not let you know it is killing you. It triggers a brief sense of warmth, sometimes a strange smell. Then unconsciousness. Then death. Many victims were found still in their beds. Others were found mid-stride, collapsed in fields and on roads, in positions that suggested they never even broke their stride before falling. In the village of Nyos itself, out of approximately 800 inhabitants, fewer than 4 survived. Epa Joseph, the herdsman, survived only because he had stumbled back inside after collapsing. The gas cloud was thinner at the edge of his location, and the slight elevation of his home may have kept the densest layer of gas just below his floor level. He woke up 18 hours later, confused, his cattle all dead around him. If this surprised you, subscribe right now, because we cover the history they removed from the textbooks, every single week. Now here is the detail that recontextualizes everything. When geologists and scientists arrived at Lake Nyos in the days following the disaster, they discovered something that should have terrified governments worldwide. Lake Nyos was not unique. There were other crater lakes in the same region. Lake Manoon, just 60 miles away, had already killed 37 people in August of 1984. That disaster had been quietly classified. The local government had suppressed the story. Villagers who had survived were told not to talk about it. 2 years later, Lake Nyos killed nearly 50 times as many people. And again, the international response was slow, confused, and deeply political. Cameroon was a poor country with limited scientific infrastructure. Western governments were interested, but their interest was academic, not urgent. The surviving villagers were evacuated, and then, for years, simply left in displacement camps while bureaucracies argued over funding. Here is the part that still matters today. A French scientist named Michel Halboix developed a solution. If you pump a pipe down into the deep water of the lake, the pressurized gas will travel up the pipe and vent safely into the atmosphere in a controlled stream. A permanent fountain of carbon dioxide, harmless at low concentration, releasing the pressure before it can build to catastrophic levels again. It took until 2001, 15 years after the disaster, for the first such pipe to be installed at Lake Nyos. By 2011, 3 pipes were running. The lake still holds dangerous levels of gas. Scientists estimate it is currently about 80% of the lethal capacity it held in 1986. And the villages? The survivors and their descendants have been trying to return for decades. The Cameroonian government only began allowing limited resettlement after 2011. Many families returned to find their ancestral land overgrown, their homes collapsed, the bones of their cattle still lying in the fields. The science of limnic eruptions, that is the formal term for what Lake Nyos did, is now understood. But there are over 40 crater lakes in the Cameroon volcanic line. Most of them have never been tested for carbon dioxide saturation. Most of them have villages on their shores. Lake Kivu, on the border of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, is 2,000 times the volume of Lake Nyos. It is saturated with both carbon dioxide and methane. 2 million people live on its shores. Scientists have been warning about it for decades. A limnic eruption at Kivu would not kill 1,746 people. Conservative estimates put the potential death toll in the millions. Nobody talks about this. It does not make headlines. It does not fit neatly into the political conversations that dominate our attention. And so the people living on those shores go about their lives, just as the people of Nyos did before August 21, 1986. History is not only about what happened. It is about what is still happening, quietly, invisibly, while the world looks the other way. If this story made you feel like your education left gaps, that is because it did. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Every week we go deeper into the history they never gave you. The stories that actually explain the world you are living in right now.